Hey guys, it's Ron and Roger, and today we'll be discussing on Ron and Roger's Dr. Pepper Pub, Silent Night, which is the remake of the Silent Night, Deadly Night film. Uh, and this movie came out in 2012. Ron, what did you think of Silent Night?
Um, the main thing I noticed is that more than anything else, to me, this movie was like a comedy. Uh, it was probably the funniest horror movie I've seen in a while. I'm not sure if all of that was intentional. I know some of it was, but I think there were a lot of moments I just found pretty funny in this.
Yeah, and like, do you prefer this over the original?
It's hard to say because it's definitely a different type of movie. Um, like this one has a more serious. Well, no, actually, the older one has a more serious tone. Um, this one has some more comedic moments in it, and I was left. And it's also different the way the movie is styled. So I would probably say I actually prefer this one. Well, overall, I prefer this one over the original.
Yeah, I still prefer the original, but I can totally see why you prefer this one. Because I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect to love this movie as much as I did because I watched it for the first time as well, and it is actually a really good film. It is one of the best remakes, or at least best horror remakes, but I even go as far to say one of the best remakes ever, um, because it just takes a whole complete new turn. It just takes the concept of a killer Santa, but the whole name Billy isn't even mentioned in this film. Like the Santa Claus killer has a whole different backstory and a whole different name and a different look. I mean, he has that weird looking mask, which I thought looked really creepy and cool. Um, so that's why I really enjoyed this as a remake, but as well as the original film. Because honestly, if if like anyone, if no one told me this was a remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night, I would have believed them, except for a few nods to the original and to the sequel, like the Garbage Day joke. Um, they're like it's like almost an original film.
Yeah, it's almost more of like a reimagining than a remake, and it has so many different aspects that are different, and I enjoyed that because I it's whether you love or hate the 1980 something version of it, 1980s whatever year, whether you loved that or hated it, uh, you wouldn't want to see the exact same thing again.
No.
So it's definitely good that they changed it. It's certainly an original script, lots of different characters, and definitely definitely a lot of changes from the original.
Yeah, it's almost like the Blob
What did you
remake.
think?
Because
What did
like
you think of the special effects in it?
except like the budget for this film wasn't that high. I'm not sure how much it was. I don't know really how much it was in total, but it wasn't that high. And you can tell in some scenes, with the flamethrower scenes, that actually looks really good. But like the scene where the woman falls out of the roof or out of the window,
Oh,
that
yeah.
looked really fake. Like I could have done that with like grass as green screen or something.
I was kind of surprised because that was the green screen from that was so obvious, but also when he cuts off the woman's leg, I thought the special effects for the leg were actually pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, I believe they.
that kind of confused me because I was like, how can you make a leg look that good when you fuck up a green screen? I mean,
They probably had
I
like a
don't get
really good
it.
special effects artist because there are some really good kills in there. Like the kill where
I mean,
the
I've seen I've seen better green screen effects on Fiverr than that. But yeah, I think there are some definitely aside from the green screen kills, the green screen scene, I enjoyed most of the practical effects. You could tell with some of the flamethrower scenes, as it did look realistic, but you could kind of tell. There's one scene where I think when he lit the woman on fire, that to me looked. It was a little bit visible there was a stunt person, but other than that, I think most of the things were well done. That I think the fight scenes looked realistic. I think, which is kind of hard to. It's not something I really expected to see in a movie like this.
No,
because the budget wasn't that high.
No, especially when you consider the budget, this movie is actually really good.
Were there any moments that you particularly enjoyed?
Yeah, like the lady, like what's that called? Like the thing where you usually throw in wood, but like the Santa killer throws in the model. What's that? Yeah, yeah. I really like that scene. That was really intense, especially because it's leg first, not head first, so you can see your reaction to it. That was pretty horrifying. And also, like the chase scene before that, and like the scene where it's just shooting and then the Santa arrives. That was really cool. Or like the opening scene, it starts off with a bang. The scene where the little kid opens the door and then he just tasers the kid like a fucking kid. Like normally they don't have.
Like I laughed a lot at that scene because it was just so bizarre. It was like there's like this 12-year-old girl that comes in. Fuck church! I want to go to the mall and get new shoes.
Yeah.
And her mom like, okay, and then she just gets fucking tased, and it's not even like he tases her and she goes down, and then he like brings her back and kills her like I was expecting. But he just tases her to death, and I mean that you have to have like a really powerful taser, and you have to tase someone for a while for that to really kick in. So I was like, that mother must be like in the kitchen with the radio on or something.
Yeah, I also really like the opening scene. Like it starts off with a bang, with like the scene where the guy's in some sort of room underground,
Yeah.
and then like the lamps all kind of explode and he gets electrocuted. I really like that scene. Like that's how I want my slasher movie to start off, with a really good kill,
Yeah.
And
I think that was probably one of the best kills in the movie.
I also really like the scene where like first you get the dare scene, like which is basically just copied from the original, and then after that he like slices a guy's head in half with like an axe.
Yeah.
I thought that kill was really good too.
I've played a lot of horror games, and I'm just surprised that that's the way he decided to do it, because it's so much easier to go for the neck. I was like, why would you split the head in half? But I mean, okay, But I mean, most of the prosthetics look really realistic. Like the scene you mentioned earlier with the wood chipper. I get a little bit queasy around blood. I had to kind of suppress the reflex to throw up when I saw that. I was like, let me pause this for 1 second. Go. Make sure I don't lose my lunch.
Yeah, I also. Oh my god, I don't know. I don't remember what I wanted to say. Like, what do you think overall of the story, like the backstory of the Santa killer?
Well, at first, I liked that it wasn't revealed until the end.
It gives kind of a mysterious tone to the movie.
Yeah.
Because why is he doing this? That's what you're wondering, like throughout the beginning.
Yeah, but I was kind of confused because was like the pastor the killer? Because like I mean I saw it and I still don't know.
What?
Was the church leader, the pastor, was he the killer?
I don't even remember. Like that. That's one of the worst parts about this film for me. That it's kind of forgettable in some points, especially in like the backstory and all those plot points.
there were a lot of moments I wanted to bring up when I was seeing. I was like, oh, I'll definitely want to bring this up, but then I'm like, I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
I think part of that, also, I gotta admit, part of that is probably due to me watching this at like 5:30 in the morning. But I was kind of confused because I think it's the pastor at the end, and he has like burns on his face, which would imply he's the Santa killer. But earlier in the film, the Santa killer stabs the pastor like 40 times and cuts his hand off. So like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, did he clone himself or?
Yeah, I don't really remember that, but I do remember like something with his girlfriend or something breaking up, something like that. Like that's the worst part about this film. It's pretty forgettable. Outside of the kills, like the plot of this film is really forgettable.
For how forgettable it was, there were some moments that really made me laugh. One, on a couple unintentional, I think, like the sheriff. Pretty much every line that the sheriff, the old guy, delivers made me laugh because, well, for one, he's bouncing between an American and a British accent, and there's really no correlation. Sometimes he sounds like this, you know, and he's going a little bit of some charisma in his voice, and then other times it's just hard American, and I can't tell why he's changing, or if the script is, and there's one time in like between like one sentence to the next, the scene didn't even change. He goes from British to American, and I thought that was funny. And then also just the way he delivers some of his lines, like the woman's like, I mean, 4 people got killed. 4 people just got killed. You think we should call in backup? No way! It's Christmas Eve. Let them enjoy let them have the family. 4 fucking people got axe murdered, okay? You can take a day off work. You can take a day in work. Like, he has no problem calling her in because one guy didn't show up. And even though it's Christmas Eve where, you know, couldn't expect that much. He calls in a guy who's sick. But you won't call in someone else where 4 people get friggin' axe murdered? I mean, there's that. And then every time she tries to move the investigation along, he's like, you're a fucking dumbass. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You know, and then he just walks away, and then she does it anyway. There's so many moments in this that I thought were funny. I mean, there's this scene with where he's choking the mayor, and he's on the phone with him, and he's just like, yeah, well, there's a guy out there, so watch out. And the guy's, ugh. There's that, but I think the one on top for funniest scene would be in the church when I mean, you look at this scene. It's there's no reason the church should be this big. Yeah, I've been in church, and there's no justification for a church being this big. If on Christmas Eve, one of the busiest times of the year, you have three people counting the pastor. Okay, you don't even have someone playing the piano.
I didn't even realize that, really.
I mean, like, because Christmas Eve is next to Easter is probably the busiest time for a church. So to have 3 people there on Christmas Eve, there's no reason the church should even exist. Forget being that size. But I thought it was funny how, I mean, you have this like nymphomaniac, this sex-addicted, perverted pastor preaching to a choir of an old woman and a guy in a Santa mask holding a switchblade. And the first thing he does, he doesn't even open with prayer. He just goes up and is yelling about sin, and it looked like he was trying to give the old woman a heart attack. Then Santa cuts his arm off, stabs 40 friggin' times, and the woman's just like, peace out, don't stitch, but I won't stitch. I thought that was pretty funny, and then she just takes the money.
I really like the scene where this guy is walking outside from like the building, like walking out of the building with like the sack filled with trash. Like, is that what you call it?
I call it a trash bag, but I think I'm going to call it sack filled with trash. No, I think that makes it better.
You're welcome. Anyway, and then he says like, he's like, what day is it? Garbage day. Did you get that reference?
I did not.
Well, because in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, which is like one of those movies that's so bad that it's good, like the acting is so bad, like someone is just, or some random person is just walking outside and doing something with his trash can, and then he shoots the guy, and then he's all like, or like he pulls up the gun and he's like, garbage day, and then he shoots him, and and for some reason that's like a real iconic scene because it's just so bad. Like, it's so bad that it's good, you know? And that was a reference to that scene. So I really laughed out loud at that scene because I just was like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting them to really bring up Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
Yeah. I haven't seen that one, but I did catch, like, the nod near the end where it shows, after the guy kills his wife with the flamethrower that his character's watching. I did notice that. That was a nice nod to the first one.
What's that? I didn't get that.
At the end, when the guy kills his wife with the flamethrower and then the kid's watching the car, I did notice that part. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, or, but like in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, there's like a scene, where he's about to kill, a Mother Superior, and then that Mother Superior just screams at him, naughty, and then he has like an axe, so he pulls up the axe, and then he's like, naughty this, and then he just throws the axe at her or something. I can't remember exactly what he did, but I just love the way he says, naughty this, like that's whole sentence doesn't even make any sense.
I thought the lead actress did a really good job with acting. It's at some points, it almost felt like it's comedy skit because of how serious and how well she did her role. And it would show like a serious scene, like her parents just got murdered, and then it's just this jackass other sheriff who can't even decide what his accent is. And he's like, he's interviewing two bozo Santas, I thought that was a good unintentional contrast in the film. I'm not sure why she was wearing the same hat throughout the entire movie. I was kind of expecting like a police cap or something, but that's sort of a minor detail. But what did you think of the acting?
Yeah, some of it is really bad, and some of it is really over the top. I like for example, I don't know who said it again, but like it almost sounds like Willem Dafoe. Like when I watched the trailer, I actually thought it was Willem Dafoe for a second, but the guy who says Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year, like the scene where he says that's really over the top. He's like, Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year, and it's just this voice that's just so obviously not his natural voice. He's just trying to be cool or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that was another moment I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, unintentionally.
I know that was like a reference or a whatever to the first one.
Yeah, with the grandpa.
There was kind of no reason for that to even be in the film. I mean, because it played no relevance to the, like, you could take out that entire scene and nothing would change. You know what I mean? Like, because the guy he talks to is just like a random guy that gets killed. I did think it was funny, though, how he, like, he's just like, fuck grandpa, I'm thinking his cash. But then I'm also thinking, like, wait, if this guy's catatonic, hasn't spoken in a year, why, and he can't move, why does he have $80 in his wallet? Why does he even have a wallet? The guy has not moved in a year. Why does he have a wallet? Does he still have a credit card and like a WWE subscription or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I really, I think actually the grandpa scene in this movie is like, or in like the original, it is even more pointless than in this movie. Because like in this movie, like the Santa Claus killer, he goes to another like village every single year, and we were like
Yeah.
in the original Silent Night Deadly Night, we basically follow one guy, and we basically follow his origin story. So why is it like it's so dangerous? Like I know there's the one Santa killer at the beginning who's like Merry fucking Christmas, you know, and he shoots the guy through the head. Like really, there's no point for it in that film. I really enjoy the scene, and it's like the beginning, so I really enjoy that. And, like it starts off with a bang, but other than that, there's no real reason for it to be there in the original.
I gotta admit, I actually did prefer the original Grandpa over this one.
Yeah, me too. The original Grandpa, like, is also over the top acting, but I don't know. It's just much more fun, that guy, for some reason.
Yeah, and it was also like it's easier to seem like the kid's making it up. Like this one, this guy's he does drugs, but like he says, he just talked. It's kind of more believable if it's him than if it's a child, because like it's a child, he could be imagining things. And I also like how the grandpa played it in the first one.
Yeah, me too. You better run, boy. You better run for your life.
And then in this one, it's so obvious that it was like post-production with messing with his voice.
Oh, Willem Dafoe. I bet they wanted to have Willem Dafoe play that guy, but their budget was just too low. That would actually be really cool. What's that?
We can pay you 1% of what you're asking. Yeah, I think I might actually, since I downloaded this movie, I might actually take a couple of the funniest scenes and kind of just maybe throw them in some of my future videos, just because there are some parts that are so bizarre that it just you just have to see them, just to get the full effect.
Yeah, that's the same thing with Silent Night Deadly Night Part 2. You should really watch that movie. Like, I don't think we're going to do a podcast for that one, but you should totally watch that. That one was really funny.
So, other than what you said, did you have any other thoughts about it?
Not really. I do have, like, a thought about this channel. You know what I was thinking? Like, I was just on my bike, and for 1 second, I always have the craziest thoughts when on my bike. For 1 second, I realized, like, what if this whole channel just gets a cult following in like 50 years, and everyone fucking loves it, you know, and all of our videos have like millions of views.
That'd be pretty funny.
I know, because like no one watches it now. But do you even realize how fucking funny it would be if
free viewer face? One person who doesn't know how to get to any other channel on YouTube. They're just stuck. This is like the. I bet there's like a level of hell where it's just our YouTube videos. There's nothing else. It's just a room with our YouTube videos. That's punishment.
With all of our videos playing.
Oh, you know what? It's all of them playing at the same time on different TV screens.
Exactly. Just a picture of the podcast. But did you prefer Billy from the original or this Santa?
For the killer?
Yeah, and the acting and the look and kills and stuff.
I think the kills looked a lot better in this one, and of course that's probably because of the year it was made.
Yeah, and because of the MMPA or something like that. Like they cut out a lot of stuff from the original because it was too violent, and of course it was a killer Santa, and that was like unheard of back in the day.
I think the kills looked a lot more realistic in this. The overall movie, as I said, I think 2 podcasts ago, the first half of the first Silent Night I really enjoyed. Then the second half was kind of a letdown for me. But this one, it wasn't really that much of a horror movie to me. And horror movies in general aren't really scary to me. But this one overall, I did like the tone of, and that was probably because I was watching this as a comedy rather than a horror. I was watching this as a comedy movie with horror kills rather than like a horror movie with funny moments. And I think that to me made it a lot better, just because it took me out of the like, oh, this guy's scary, what's he gonna do next? And I was like, oh, this sheriff's a jackass, what's he gonna say next? But I would definitely take this one over the first one, and part of that is because of how bad it is in some aspects. I think that made it better. How about you?
I still prefer the first one in terms of like overall with the story and build up and stuff. And it's also like a classic movie. I prefer Billy in the first one because his look is just so iconic, and it's just that one is kind of more realistic, and this one kind of misses the point of a Killer Santa. Yeah, it definitely takes it is a different take on a Killer Santa. But like if you have a Killer Santa, you want it to look like a Santa and not scare kids off like immediately. So that's why I really prefer the look of the first one. Although this one is of course scarier in terms of looks, it does really kind of miss the point of a Killer Santa. But in terms of like the build up from the story, I still really prefer the first one. And the first one is like still my favorite Christmas movie of all time.
I think the first one was a better horror movie and thriller, and I think this one was a better comedy movie. And as I said before, not all of that was intentional, but I think a lot of scenes in this are funny. And for anyone who does hear this and hasn't seen this movie yet, I would totally recommend watching this movie as a comedy. There are some moments that aren't really funny, like when he's shoving the woman in the wood chipper. But I gotta admit, this is probably the most I've laughed at any horror movie.
Yeah, that's really good.
So what would you rate this out of 10?
I think like a 8 out of 10 or something. Yeah, 8 out of 10 is good for me.
I would probably give it something pretty similar. I would give it an 8.3. The movie itself, if I were to take it seriously, I'd probably give it something more like a 6.9 or a 7. But the funny parts in it made this so much better to me that I can't give it any lower than 8. So I would go with about an 8.3 for this one. Yeah, this is. I know I've said this like 5 times now, but I really thought there were some pretty funny moments in this. And by the way, Donald Logue, who's in the Gotham TV show, if anyone watches that, he is in this. So that's at least one familiar face.
Anyway, any last words?
I was gonna say a quote from the movie, but I can't think of any.
So make sure to join us next week for a podcast we don't know the title of. So
we will be watching and discussing Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I meant to tell you earlier, but I didn't. So there's the big reveal.
Okay. Yeah, so make sure to join us next week. We'll be reviewing Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
See you next week, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one.
non-existent viewers.